Good morning. My name is Beth Gallick, and I'm the Executive Director for the Bay Area Manufacturers Association. BAMA is an industry-focused membership organization serving manufacturing in Tampa Bay. We support manufacturers and promote economic development. We are part of the Florida Makes Network, helping manufacturers grow and develop new technologies. Our solutions are designed to help companies address current challenges, create new opportunities for growth, and achieve measurable results. We also serve as advocates for the industry and promote advanced manufacturing careers. And we're here today to help change your perception of what it means to work in manufacturing. With that purpose and in celebration of Manufacturing Month, we're hosting free virtual events and activities all month long. So October is Manufacturing Month, and today we're here with one of our local manufacturers, Southern Manufacturing Technologies. And we also have a special guest with us today who is a big supporter of manufacturing, Representative Jennifer Webb, with the Florida House of Representatives 69th District in Pinellas County. Welcome, Jennifer, and thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Beth. I'm excited to be here today. I am a big champion of manufacturing for a few reasons. I mean, it's my job as a state representative to do what's best for our state. And manufacturing sector is a sector that's growing in our state. It's a way that families can provide for, that people can provide for their families and really build up a good future for themselves. And so as a state representative, I'm a big advocate, but also personally, I'm an advocate. Before joining the House of Representatives or the State House of Representatives, I developed job training programs. I developed career and technical education. I worked firsthand with manufacturing. I got to see manufacturers. I got to see how much they invested in their workers, how there was the ability to, basically go into one company and work your way up, and with the evolution of manufacturing and how a lot of the jobs have been like computerized. It's also now a really cool way of doing hands-on computer technology. So you can do everything from working with machines and getting your hands dirty to high tech and clean manufacturing, which is like almost space age. It's really exciting, and it's a really important part of our economy in Florida. And it's a sector that's growing. So you have job stability, and you can get a good paying job without actually having to take out a ton of student debt. I mean, isn't that awesome? As someone who has a lot of college debt, I wish that I would have known when I was younger that there was this entire sector that I could have gotten into and had a meaningful career in and not taken out $100,000 worth of school debt. But I'm actually very excited to introduce Roy Sweatman today. Roy is going to be presenting to you. You're going to be touring Southern Manufacturing Technologies. Roy Sweatman is the president and owner of Southern Manufacturing Technologies, Inc. SMT is a precision custom manufacturer located in Tampa. SMT's 100 employees utilize 22 CNC machine tools to produce high precision components for the aircraft, aerospace, and defense industries. How exciting is that? Roy has spent his entire career in manufacturing, starting as an apprentice machinist at GE. And after 13 years at GE, he then spent 5 years as a general manager of precision machining company in the Cleveland area. In 1983, Roy moved to Tampa and bought a small machining company with 5 employees and has grown it to what it is today. Roy really embodies what's beautiful about manufacturing. Roy is a past national chairman of the National Tooling and Machining Association. Roy currently serves on the board of NIMS, Florida West Coast chapter of NTMA, BAMA, Career Source Tampa Bay, and Florida Makes. All of these are organizations that help the manufacturing sector grow and thrive. Where he also chairs, in Florida Makes, he chairs the Advanced Manufacturers Workers Leadership Council. Roy serves on numerous advisory councils, such as the Manufacturing Alliance of Hillsborough County, East Lake High School, Middleton High School, River Ridge High School, and Pinellas Technical College. go Knights, where he chairs the Tampa Bay Machining Apprenticeship. Roy, it's great to have you on. Thank you so much for all you do for manufacturing and for your commitment to growing your own business and the sector as a whole in this area and across the state.
Thank you, Representative Webb. I think I don't have much to add to that. I didn't realize I sent you so many things about me. Welcome everyone to SMT. We typically do a dozen or so tours around Manufacturing Month, and of course this year is a little bit different since we're having to do it virtually. But I think if you just watch the video, I think we cover everything in there, and then we can answer any questions later. So I guess if you want to go ahead with the video.
Okay, thank you so much, Roy. And before we start the video, I wanted to let you know that you can ask your questions through the Q&A bar, but I think the video is starting, so we'll go ahead.
Any sound on the video?
Thank you so much, Roy and Shannon. That was a great look inside Southern Manufacturing Technologies right here in Tampa. And like Roy said, typically we would do that in person with schools. Students would get to go in and actually see all of that in person, but that was wonderful bringing it to us virtually. And I would like to welcome a few high schools that are here with us this morning. We have Dunedin High School, welcome to you, Armwood High School, Northeast High School, and Eastlake High School. So thank you so much for joining us. We do have some questions, so remember, if you have any questions, there is a Q&A bar on the right-hand side of your screen. So just ask your questions there, and we will get them answered for you. But Roy, we do have a few questions that have come in from Eastlake High School. So they want to know, and I think this is a very popular question that you get every year, what happens to all the scrap that gets cut off the part?
It's all recycled. We save it all in big dumpster type bins and stuff like that. And then there's a recycler on the east side of town that come and picks it up, and they'll squeeze it down into bricks or things like that, and then sell it back to the mills to be melted down and reused.
And I recall maybe something interesting that was done with the scrap metal from someone that visited and asked a request.
We had some, I think you're talking about we cut a lot of aluminum, so that's kind of a bright silvery color to it. And, the chips get a little stringy and sparkly. And so we had a gal who toured and was going to be in a decorative art wearing contest. And so she actually took a bunch of chips back with her to put on her dress to be part of the art show.
So a very interesting use for the scrap metal. So that's very ingenuitous. Another question we have coming in is, what is the failure rate with the manufacturing of parts?
The failure rate? I don't know. It is very precise, some of the things that we do. We're cutting metal, so tools will wear, or somebody may put a part in the wrong way or something like that. But I'd say our scrap rate is like maybe 1%.
Okay. And what is the major difference between the DMG 1500 and the DMG 2000?
The 1500 has got a little smaller chuck and a little faster RPM, so it can machine something a little bit faster than the other one. The 2000 has got a couple inch bigger chuck and not quite the same speed, and so we do the larger parts on that. We got them separate like that. Primarily, we plan on running a lot of Inconel, which is a high nickel and very hard to cut, so it takes more horsepower to cut it, and the parts are a little bit bigger than what we were planning on the other one, which was more aluminum and smaller parts, so we wanted it to run faster. And of course, we got a robot in between that'll tend both of them.
Okay, wonderful. And I know Shannon spoke a little bit about, getting the resumes together, maybe a little bit about what you look for in an employee. You don't necessarily need someone that has a lot of experience, but what are some of the things you might look for in a potential employee, or something that kids can work on right now where they're in high school to prepare them for a career in manufacturing?
Well, of course, just some of the basics of, coming to work every day and being on time and things like that. But, the more math in your STEM classes, I like to say that when you come to SMT, it's the practical application of some of the things that you learned in your STEM classes that you couldn't figure out how you'd ever use. But with the manufacturing of parts like what we do, you have to have know a little bit about geometry and trigonometry to figure angles and get parts get the features in the right location, things like that. So anything along those lines, and of course, if you really like to work with your hands and actually see something start from nothing and wind up as a finished product, and instead of sitting at a computer screen or sitting at a desk all day, it's those kinds of things. So, those people that you like to work on cars, or you like to build robots, or you like to do things like that, that's all helpful.
Okay, wonderful. And recently, with the COVID pandemic, things have changed a lot, with a lot of the industries and a lot of businesses. What are some changes that you have made in your facility to make things safer with the pandemic going on? And also, what are some things that you've done to help, or, how have you responded to that?
Well, in our case, as a supplier to aerospace and defense and medical industries, we were considered an essential business. So when the shutdowns first came, we didn't have that option to shut down. We can't manufacture things from home, so people couldn't really work from there. So we had to do a lot of different things. We staggered shifts and break times and lunch times so that we didn't have as many people in areas at a time. We put up partitions. We're doing a lot of extra cleaning. We put in UV lights in the air conditioning, which would help kill the bacteria and that sort of thing, the virus. Got people to work more, switch shifts to weekends and nights. We went to a number of 4-day, 10-hour shifts and spread out the days that different people were here, so we didn't have as many people at the same time. And of course, social distancing, keeping people 6 feet apart, and whenever possible, and wearing masks when you couldn't do that. And it became really important because we make a part that goes on a ventilator, and so when the ventilators were all in high demand, we had to tool up 2 machines. We worked, all weekends for 2 or 3 weeks to tool up a couple more machines. And we went from making 160 of these parts a week to 1,800 a week.
Wow. So you were definitely prepared and had a great response. So we have another question that just came in from Dunedin High School. What type of 3D modeling software do you use for machining?
We use SolidWorks for our modeling, and then we have a programming software called Esprit that takes that and converts it into the language that the machines understand. Programming language to give you the tool paths to make the parts to the print.
All right, and another question from, I believe, Eastlake High School. How many different types of jobs are there in a manufacturing facility like yours? Do you make specific types of parts, or just parts that people need to be made for them?
Well, we don't have our own product. So we don't design anything. All of our parts are designed by our customers to work inside their products. So if we have a customer that's building a fuel control for 737 and they have servo valves on there, and we make the servo valve housing for it, or we make a housing that's part of the nose gear actuation system. So they send us the drawings and the models, and then we quote a price based on how long we think it's going to take to make it, and that kind of thing. And then if we get the order, then we have to make the parts. We have, as far as the different kinds of jobs, we have all kinds of jobs. I mean, certainly machinists, and that is one of the highest number of people that we have in need. But we have everything. We have janitors, we have shipping, receiving people, we have purchasing people, we have quality control people, inspectors, quality engineers, manufacturing engineers, management people, payables, receivables. I mean, just about anything there is to running a business, we have in the manufacturing business. And, our engineers are not necessarily needing a college degree. They really need the hands-on machining experience and knowing when we get a new part and they're going to process it and figure out how to make it, they know, hey, we can make it on this machine, we can turn this, we can hold it this way and do this kind of features on it and that kind of thing. So the experience starting from entry level, learning how to measure and inspect parts and with micrometers and various automated devices and that sort of thing. Then learning how to put the parts in and run the machine and measure the parts when you're done, load and unload. And then you get to where you learn setups, and you set up a new job, put the tools in and touch them off and figure out, how to get it running from the beginning. And then maybe get into programming and, become a process engineer or something. So there's a complete career path, many career paths that can be had in a manufacturing environment like ours. Like I said, I started out as an apprentice, and I've been a business owner now for 37 years.
That's wonderful. That's great to know that, with a student coming in, they could start at an entry-level position, and they have the opportunity to move up and advance. So that's very important. What would a typical day look like for one of your employees? When do you start in the morning and finish at night?
We actually run some equipment 24/7. So we have just any number of shifts, if you will. We have people that come in at 5 o'clock in the morning, maybe they go home at 2 or something like that. We have other people that, may work from 4 o'clock until 2 in the morning. We have other people who work Fridays to Mondays or Thursdays to Sundays or things like that. So it helps in many ways that to balance people's, life needs. Sometimes we can adjust shifts so that people can pick up their kids at school at the right time or that sort of thing. When it comes to high school and college students, when we hire them part-time, we're able to adjust our schedules generally to match their school schedules. Every semester, if we have a USF engineering student working part-time, we generally have to switch days or times or that sort of thing, but we're mostly able to do that.
That's wonderful. It's a great flexible opportunity for students coming in. We have another question. Where do you import the materials you use for your parts? So where do they come from?
The materials are generally not imported. They're generally made in this country, especially with the defense work that we do. We're restricted to buy certain materials that are made in the United States instead of certain foreign countries. So there are, mills that roll steel, melt and make steel, make aluminum. An Alcoa or Reynolds Aluminum, people like that. Those are American companies. And then what they generally do is work through distributors. So we'll have a distributor like Alro, let's say, that's local here, and they carry certain brands of materials in certain sizes. And so we find the right source that has the size we need, and we buy it from them.
Okay. And what certifications would you like to see on a student's resume?
Well, for machining, the NIM certifications are certainly the most important to us. I realize that's a little bit hard to get in high school. You can get some of the first couple of basic certificates without actually having machines to run. If you do have machines in your program, like at Dixie Hollins, or if Eastlake still has their machines, you can work and get some of the NIM certifications. Some basic certifications, the MSSC CPT certifications, or at least a basic understanding of machining. We have a full-blown apprenticeship here, like I said, that the apprentices learn on the job, and then they take related content training over at Pinellas Technical College, and they will wind up with 8 or 10 NIM certifications as part of their apprenticeship. We've also just recently started Florida Makes, which is the manufacturing extension partnership for the state of Florida, has recently sponsored and started we call it the Industrial Manufacturing Technician Apprenticeship. And it is a short apprenticeship, a 1 year or less apprenticeship. It's competency-based. It's based on the MSSC CPT training, and so you can get your CPT certifications online, so you don't have to go to somebody like Pinellas Technical College. So that can give you the basics. It's tailored so it's very flexible and it's very generic, if you will, for manufacturing. So you can learn basics in that, and then you can head in any direction you want, whether it's machining or circuit board soldering or something different. But it gives you the basics in that. So there's a lot of things available to take you from high school to a career in manufacturing.
And we have another question from Eastlake High School. Do you have teachers come in during the summer to learn?
We have done that a couple of times. We weren't able to this past year because of the COVID thing, but yes, we have. I think you said Armwood was on as part of this, so David was here for a summer a year ago. And prior to that, we did have a teacher from Eastlake. It's been several years now that we had a teacher from Eastlake spend the summer here working. Okay,
yes. And David did have a couple questions as well. And you talked about, you do have part-time employment for high school students. So what would a starting salary be for a part-time employee?
What is it, 10? I'm asking my HR person here who's sitting here with me. Was it $10 an hour? About approximately $10 an hour to start.
Okay, that's a great starting salary. So it's a definite, option for kids looking for part-time work. Very exciting and something that you can really learn and advance in. So a great alternative. And we did get a comment from Armwood High School. Great job, great video. So good accolades, Roy, on the video that you presented. And maybe talk about a little bit about, I think you talked a little bit about how you got into the industry, but maybe go through that again, just for students getting in and how easy it is to get into manufacturing, why you got into manufacturing in the beginning, and why manufacturing is so important to you and so important to the country.
Well, like I said, I had kind of got into it by accident as I went to, I was raised on a dairy farm, and I went to GE to look for a summer job, and I wasn't old enough for their normal hiring except for the apprentice course. And, then once I got started in it, it just kept going and got more and more interesting as you learned more and more about it. I'm also, even though I haven't flown for a while, I'm also a pilot. My family was into aviation, and so having machining skills to be able to make parts for airplanes was always appealing to me. And manufacturing, there's an old saying that the only three ways to really create wealth is you have to either grow it, like farming, mine it, like mining raw materials, or manufacture it. And so it's very important. The multiplier effect to the economy for manufacturing is much higher than any other industry. If you're I don't know, let's say you're an accountant and you have an office and a computer, the multiplier effect is not as high as a manufacturer who's buying raw materials, who's buying machining equipment, who's having chemical processes and heat treating done at other companies and those kinds of things. And that's what really generates much higher wages and much higher GDP for the local economy and the country.
Exactly. And where do you see any new technologies coming down the pipeline for your business or in manufacturing in general?
Well, there's always new technologies coming down. I mean, in some ways they're not, completely different technologies where they're just, the machines are getting more precise, more capable, more accurate. They can, more and more the controls are able to sense if your cutting tool is getting dull, and in the past the machine, you had to rely on the machinist to see that it was getting dull, or here it was not cutting the same and change the tool, and now machines will actually slow down and kind of give you a notice that it's getting dull. So there's a lot more capable, just like those two new machines, the DMG NZXs. With the robot in that, that's our first robot. The automation is a big part of things that are, technologies that are coming down the road. The adaptation of additive machining I think most everybody knows about, 3D printing and that sort of thing, but, it's being adapted in many ways. A lot of the machine tool builders are building hybrid machines where you can take a block of material and maybe start to machine it and then bring in a laser sinterer and add material in a certain place that would be very difficult or impossible to machine, and then you can actually finish it off and things like that. So there's just, you're competing globally. I mean, I think a lot of people think all manufacturing has gone to China, which isn't true, but certainly we have lost a lot of jobs to China, and so they're developing technology as fast as they can to compete with us. So yeah, if we don't stay on top of technology and stay on the cutting edge, we're not going to be competitive.
Exactly. And some more questions from the students. How old do you have to be to get hired, and what is the application process?
Well, the application process, I think, Shannon had it on the video where you can just email her a resume to hr@smt-tampa.com. In order to work in the shop on a machine, you have to be at least 16. We have hired as young as 14 because we can put somebody under 16 like in inspection and learn how to measure parts and use the inspection type equipment, but not the actual cutting machines like that. But at age 16, there's still some restrictions, but we've had 16-year-olds running CNC machines.
Okay. And what brand of machining equipment do you prefer?
There's a lot of really good machine tool companies out there. We've kind of settled on DMG Moriseki. It's a Japanese company. There really are no other than Haas, which is not quite the level of machines that we need, but there's not a lot of machine tools such as ours built in the United States anymore. But that's just the brand that we've settled on. It's one of the higher end brands. It's a little more expensive than some others, but it lasts a lot longer, and they really have done a good job for us, so we kind of stick with them.
Okay. Very good. And I think the class sessions are just starting to wrap up. So I wanted to mention to the students as well that there are a lot of scholarships out there for kids going into STEM careers. The Bay Area Manufacturing Organization, we do have a scholarship that we give out to high school seniors going into STEM careers. So please check the BAMA website and apply for that scholarship. You wouldn't believe that we don't get very many applicants, so you have a good shot of getting it. And there is a variety of different scholarships available. So again, I would like to thank Representative Jennifer Webb for being with us here today. I'd also like to thank Roy Sweatman for the tour of his facility, and Shannon for showing us a little bit more inside what Southern Manufacturing Technologies does right here in Tampa Bay. Roy, I'll pass it back to you if you have any final closing words before we close down today.
Well, really, all I got to say, thank you, all of you for attending and watching the tour and coming to the tour. And we hope we've opened up your eyes to some new opportunities that maybe you hadn't thought of in the past in manufacturing. So thank you again for coming.
Wonderful. Well, everyone have a great day, and please join us for more Manufacturing Month activities all month long. Thanks again. Have a great afternoon.